Police warn people not to protest on Saturday. That's right, the police are very serious. We're talking about New South Wales police. Now, they've actually made some threats. As it's quite known, there are protests planned for this Saturday. It's being reported in the mainstream media, all right? This isn't breaking news from MCJ Report. You got all different sorts of media outlets reporting on it, including but not limited to Daily Mail. So Daily Mail has reported that there is a huge protest planned for Saturday in Sydney, but these protests are going on all around the country. There's going to be one in Queensland, I believe. There's going to be one in Melbourne. So they're really going on all over the place. So let's have a bit of a look at what they're saying. All right, so what do we have here? Let's have a look. Oh my goodness, New South Wales. Cops warn protesters planning to storm Sydney this weekend to think again, as there will be harsh consequences for anyone in attendance. Well, you know what other consequences are harsh? The consequences of lockdown, the consequences of kids not being in school, right? The consequences of not being able to pay rent, losing businesses, losing mortgages, having a mental health crisis break out because students are unable to socialize. I would say that's a pretty big consequence as well, wouldn't you think? But here we go. There's going to be harsh consequences. I mean, the greatest consequences are the ones that have been inflicted upon we the people by the government, who, without conducting any of their own real investigations or research, have decided that the best way to handle this so-called pandemic is to lock us in our homes and stop us from working. They think that's a really good idea. And the cops have warned that, and supposedly the cops are the ones that will be dishing out the consequences. I thought it was the government. Maybe I'm confused. Anyway, it says here, New South Wales police have said they're aware of illegal protests planned for the weekend. Oh, sounds very threatening. Cops warned anyone who attended demonstrations would be fined and arrested. Well, we've heard that before, haven't we? You know, if somebody has lost absolutely everything in their life, do you think that person is really concerned about being fined? If somebody's lost their business, lost their home, I mean, there's really not much else more that you can take from that person. All right, it goes on to say here, it comes nearly 3 weeks after the original Freedom March in Sydney's CBD. Investigators received about 15,000 tip-offs since the protest on July 24th. And the media reported, 3,500 in attendance. So that's quite a few tip-offs per person, wouldn't you say? All right, I'm just going to read to you a little bit from the article here. Let's see what it says. New South Wales police have been very tyrannical, very heavy-handed. They've completely abused their power and inflicted an absolute series of assaults on the people of New South Wales. It's been absolutely atrocious. We've even seen young kids pepper sprayed, haven't we? Just an absolute disgrace. Okay, it says, yet in another series of anti-lockdown protests is currently being hatched for this weekend in Sydney as police warn residents not to attend. Almost 3 weeks after the original Freedom Rally, police say they're aware of another illegal demonstration. Police are aware of an unauthorised protest for this weekend. They're saying do not attend. All right, so there they are, New South Wales police keeping everybody safe by smashing people into the ground. Yeah, that's how you keep people safe these days. Goes on to say the protest, which saw copycat events in Melbourne, Brisbane and South Australia, was planned on social media weeks in advance. Police have been monitoring encrypted messaging platform Telegram. That's right, we love Telegram, don't we? As early as May before the protest started. All right, so let's see what this guy has to say. Who here knows who this is? Commissioner Mick Fuller. He's not happy. He's actually pretty mad. Let's see what he's got to say.
Some discussions, there's some information on the internet at the moment about a potential protest this Saturday. Can I just put this warning out now to everyone, is that we will be heavily policed. We will be taking the ground very early. You will be arrested and protested. The community has spoken about that behaviour. The Premier has spoken about that behaviour, and it won't be tolerated again.
So he represents the community, does he? The community has spoken. Well, they also spoke when 40,000 of them hit the streets, with many multiples of thousands more supporting the people that went there. I think the community spoke during that last protest, but according to Mick Fuller here, he's spoken to the community and they spoke back because he's got all the answers. He's smart, you're not. He knows what's best for your health and you're just an idiot. Do you think all the people in France protesting right now, are they just a bunch of wacko anti-vaxxer conspiracy theorists? I mean, there must be millions protesting in France right now. Are they all just crazy? Are they all stupid? Or are they not? Put your thoughts in the comments.
Thank you.
In regards to this planned second protest, last year there was action in the courts with the BLM protest. Is that possible, or is this a bunch of anarchists who won't respond anyway?
There are no organisers that we can take to the Supreme Court to stop the protests from happening, which...
There are no organisers we can take to the Supreme Court. So, I mean, New South Wales Police, what is it? Your intel sucks? You're not able to find who the organisers are? What's going on? They're chasing their tails. This is hilarious.
Which means they're a bunch of anarchists, which means...
So there's no organisers, therefore in the mind of Mick Fuller, they're a bunch of anarchists. Alright, that is completely wrong logic, and I'll tell you why in a second.
In terms of our police response, it will be significant on Saturday if it is planned to go ahead.
Alright, so because he's unable to take organisers to the Supreme Court, therefore people attending are anarchists. I'm not sure if Mick Fuller has read up on what the definition of the term anarchist is, but it's really not what he's describing here. So let's just have a look, all right? Anarchism. Belief in the abolition of all government and the organisation of society on a voluntary cooperative basis without recourse to force or compulsion. So I don't think the 40,000 people that attended the last freedom protest in Sydney are anarchists. I don't think they're calling for the abolition of the government and all the government departments, even though many of them, admittedly, are completely useless and a waste of our money. They're just simply asking to be treated like human beings. They're asking to be heard. All right? They're expressing their view that lockdowns cause more harm than good. They're not alone. What about the Great Barrington Declaration? Tens of thousands of medical professionals, including scientific researchers, have agreed that lockdowns cause more harm than good and that a different measure should be implemented that involves protecting the vulnerable. So are those doctors and scientific researchers, are they anarchists as well, according to Mick Fuller? I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, Mick Fuller does not know his right from his left. All right, so that's what anarchism is. So what is an anarchist? Simply somebody who wants to bring about anarchy. So this is really puzzling to me. I don't know what goes on in this man's head and if he gets enough sleep or what his understanding is like on the English language. But anyway, New South Wales Police warning to would-be protesters, stay at home or face legal action. All right, so yeah, they want you to stay at home, they want you to suffer, and they don't think that people have a right to protest when a government is trampling over their rights. That's what I guess New South Wales Police are saying. And Victoria Police say much the same thing. So I went looking for some statements from Luke Cornelius, but I couldn't find any. So I'm not sure what's going on with Victoria Police because it's not just New South Wales. There's protest plans this Saturday for all major cities around Australia. So maybe Victoria Police, they're trying to be a little bit more covert, not talking to the media, or I'm not sure what the strategy is. Let's keep having a bit of a look here. Police warn anti-lockdown protesters cooking up plans on encrypted apps. Cooking up. No, I mean, they use the word cooking. What do you think when you hear cooking up? It's like, what, cooking up crack cocaine or something like that? Anyway, just going to have a bit of a look down here. Telegram messages about this Saturday's planned rally in Sydney advise protesters to go in groups to clog up roads in order to evade police. So that's what news.com.au is reporting that the instructions are to, quote, clog up the roads in order to, quote, evade police. What do you think about that strategy? Goes on to say here, Shadow Minister Walt Secord said he supported Police Commissioner Mick Fuller in his hardline stance. Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. You know why? Because Walt has not taken a pay cut. Walt has a secure job. Walt doesn't have to worry about paying his mortgage. That's right. Walt gets to drink whatever alcohol he wants every night. He gets to eat nice food. He probably lives in a nice house. Of course he supports the police. And of course he's unwilling to listen to the many thousands of people who have had their lives completely destroyed and their freedoms trampled over. What an absolute disgrace. The people that work within the walls of our parliament. I tell you what, they're making a mistake by not listening to the people, and sooner or later, they are going to realize it. Here's what this guy had to say. Walt, I sincerely hope these unhinged idiots. Oh, that makes me mad, ladies and gentlemen. Walt Secord, the people that pay his bills. That's right. Many of them probably voted for the party that he's in. He's referred to them as unhinged idiots. This man is spitting in the face of those who make his life possible, those who make his job possible. Unhinged idiots. Wow. I'm going to remember that one. Don't worry about that. This man has made a tremendous mistake by speaking to we the people like that. All right, so he said here, I'm just going to start again. I sincerely hope these, quote, unhinged idiots thinking about protesting have a rare moment of clarity. Oh, he's so condescending, isn't he? And decide to stay home. Walt Second, I mean, who the hell is this guy? I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard about him before. Walt Second. What is he? I don't even know what the guy looks like. Let's find out right now. All right. Putting people first. Walt Second, putting people first. Look at this. Look at this guy. What an absolute disgrace. Shadow Minister for Arts and Heritage. Shadow Minister for Police. Shadow Minister for Counter-Terrorism. He probably thinks people protesting the lockdowns are terrorists. Shadow Minister for the North Coast. Well, he's got a lot of specialties, doesn't he? This guy right here. This guy right there refers to the people that pay his bills as unhinged idiots. Take a good look at that face, ladies and gentlemen. That man, what can I say? I would describe him as an enemy of the people. Yeah, I'm saying that. You do not insult people like that. He's biting the hand that feeds him. This is absolutely insane. Why are these politicians able to get away with using this type of language when referring to voters? You know what a protest is, right? A protest is a public demonstration of social proof that a huge problem exists. Generally, it's a problem with public policy. The more people that protest, generally the greater the problem is, and the more consensus there is that there is some type of fundamental problem with public policy. It could be policy that is unfair. It could be policy that results in the destruction of people's lives, or it could be, something to that effect. So anyway, I'm just going to keep having a look here. It said here, if the protesters decide to come into the city with the intent of protesting and hurting hard-working police officers, well, actually, the police officers, they're the violent ones, then I hope they are arrested with undue haste. They are bail removed and spend the night in a cold cell before appearing in court the next day. All right. So this man right here, Walt, he wants people who have, many of them have lost everything. Many of them are on the brink. Okay, mental health crisis, unable to work, unable to pay their bills. Should they leave their homes to express their opposition to the government, he wants them arrested and to be placed in a cold cell. Let that sink in. What is this guy's name again? I can't even remember. Walt Secord. We got to start naming and shaming these politicians. I mean, they're all cut from the same cloth. You know what they are? They are elitists. They work and socialize in elitist circles. They are the political ruling class that have their boot securely placed on the head of working class Australia. Anyway, that's what the message is from New South Wales Police, and I'm sure that Victoria Police are having some type of similar discussion regarding the protest on the weekend as well. Anyway, I just wanted to address that, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's particularly disgraceful.